Good afternoon. Regular session Nogales Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meeting, 4 p.m. Wednesday, November 1st, City Hall Complex, Council Chambers. Call this meeting to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Vice Mayor, give me an honor.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Any call to the public? No. Okay, item 4, outstanding compliance findings.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you for joining me today. I will start with outstanding compliance findings going back to the sustainability report that was assigned prior to me being here. And in that one, we still have your training pending. I want to thank Commissioner Gradias for completing the training. However, I hope that the rest of you received my email. If not, I could resend the email. Yes, sir.
I already took mine.
Okay, could you just send me a confirmation, an email confirming that you completed it, please? And thank you for that.
Could you send it to me?
Sure, I'll make a note.
Just send the email.
The link, yes, you want me to resend it?
But you have to send it to my personal,
Okay,
okay? So I don't get this email.
okay, I'll reach out and get that.
Mr. Cervantes,
Yes, sir.
how often do we have to renew that one? Because I had already done it. So do I have to renew it also?
That's a great question that I do not have the answer for, but I will find out for you if you have to, and if you have confirmation that you completed it, you can send that to me
Okay,
for the time being.
all right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
When I took mine, they were having technical problems, so I couldn't get a confirmation.
As long as you send me your email that you completed it, I'll accept that. Thank you. And on July 21st, we received a letter reminding us of the Public Housing Agency Recovery and Sustainability Assessment results and determinations. On that letter, which was dated July 21st, they went over the findings again of this assessment that took place back in March. And in that letter, they said that we would be following up with a new sustainability, and that's what we're working on today. So that's what we have before us today, and it was sent as an attachment. I'm not sure if you all received it. It's the sustainability plan and a recovery agreement for the items that were still outstanding. Most of them were closed before Marta left. However, there's a few that were still pending. I'm not sure if you had a chance to review them, and or if you have any questions, I'm willing to answer any questions that you might have on that report.
Commissioner Gradius.
On this compliance or report, it still shows the audit. Didn't we submit that, or it hasn't been fully accepted?
So the audit was submitted and accepted last month, barely. So we were very late on that audit. However, our new audit for this current year began in July. And I spoke to the auditor yesterday, and he is giving me a timeline of next week to actually send me the preliminary one so we can review it. And we should be finalized and ready to submit the audit as a whole by the 31st of December, which is our deadline. You're welcome.
Any other questions on that? My question is basically, how do you see it?
I had my doubts at first, especially since we have till March to get this straightened out. However, as we work together, and the team has come together and I'm very grateful for that. And everybody stepping up to the plate. I do not see an issue with any of it. The hardest part would be the audit because it's basically out of our hands. So we have the auditors working on it, then we come present it to you, and then it still has to go in Lindsay has to take, their part and play their role in it. So that's the only one that's kind of iffy, if I have to say that. But like I said, our auditor assured me that we would have it by next week. I have direct contact now with one of the managers at Lindsay, and he did offer his services, whatever I needed right away. So as soon as I get that audit next week, I will be sending it to him so they could start reviewing as to what they have to take care of on their side to make sure that we meet the deadline this year.
Okay, and for past experience, Ms. Cervantes, it's, let's make sure there's some of these, we have to give notice, months, and others we have to, put in the paper information of the audits and all that, make sure we're all intact with, everything we gotta do before, that way we're in compliance the right way.
Yes, sir. Been noted. Thank you. Any other questions on that?
Yes, Vice Mayor, Commissioner.
Ms. Cervantes, do you have a schedule or a calendar of all the dates of the reports that are due to HUD?
Yes, I do. Yes. Would you like a copy of that? I can provide that.
no,
Oh, okay.
For your information.
Yes, I do. And it's very helpful, especially because of what Chairman Maldonado just mentioned. There's a lot of things that we have to follow protocol, and we do have to put public notices out. So we have to make sure that we're meeting all those timelines prior to the report being due.
Okay, saying that, are we in compliance with CMAP for this year? Did we submit a CMAP report to HUD?
So CMAP took place for this past year, took place in May, June when I started. So yes, it's an ongoing process for next year, but yes, we're doing it as we speak.
Okay,
Ongoing.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Continue.
So in closing off the actual pending, that's what we had pending. If we don't have any questions, we could move on to the next item.
Okay, Director's report.
Our director's report in front of you, you have our actual breakdown on occupancies. The first page shows our public housing occupancy. And as you can see, we are gaining steps, and we are up to 97% for October. We hope to move in two that we had pending to finish off the month of October. However, that was not feasible. So in November, I can tell you right now, we're starting off with two. If we don't have anybody move out in November, then we should be past our 98%, which is our goal. That's for public housing. In our section 8, which is your second page. Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Turnaround status, I see 7 across the board. There doesn't seem to be a change. How long is the turnaround status, and what's keeping us from flipping those over?
I'm glad you're asking that, and it's actually on the offline that you're asking about?
Offline modernization.
Okay, so on the offline, we have 5 units that, as you are aware of before, they're the ones that had the mold, the 5 units on kitchen. And we have 1 unit in Siqueiros, and 1 unit in Las Americas. Siqueiros is a bathroom, and Las Americas is a kitchen. Unfortunately, when these contracts were issued, they gave them 6 months to complete everything. The 6 months will be up November 17th. We did run into issues with the 5 modernization ones where we had setbacks, so we have to extend that for them at least 2 to 3 weeks. But that's where we stand. That's why they have not moved, because they were granted 6 months to complete the work. You're welcome.
Commissioner Bonillas.
On these buildings that had the mold, did they have to change out all the vents and, or just they did work on the walls or?
They changed everything out. And once they had even changed everything, they knocked down walls and changed the vents and everything, we had to go back in for termite control. So they opened the walls twice. That was the setback, by the way, Commissioner Gradias, on that they had to actually make holes again and start all over again. But they're turning out very nice if any of you want to go visit before. If not, for sure, once they're done, I will send out an invite so you can see the finished work. Very nice.
Commissioner,
So,
Well,
Mr. Cervantes, on the offline modernization, is that being done by an outside contractor or is it
Yes, it is.
in-house?
It's outside. And he was granted the 6 months to complete it. I don't know why, but he was. And I've brought him in twice already to make sure we're on the same page and he understands the urgency and the fact that we do have to meet our deadlines. I need to get those units back online as soon as possible. And like I said, the setback right now is the fact that we did have the termite discovery after the fact. So we're going to have to give them those 2 weeks that we set it up for the termite control. Another thing that's going on with these is that once I started, the question was, where is this water coming from? And we're talking about the units on kitchen. They have a metal sheet where the window is. I don't know if you've ever noticed, it's a different color and it's a metal sheet. The water's leaking in through there. So again, after the fact, when I found out, I decided this can't stay this way. There's no sense if it's going to happen again, and there's no sense in keeping it this way. So after doing some research and getting opinions from the contractor, we're actually going to take off that sheet metal piece and replace it with brick. So that shouldn't be a problem again. But again, that was part of the setback also. Any other questions on those units? Yes.
On those metal boards that are underneath the window, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's behind that metal, there's wood. I think so. If they haven't replaced it. And back in the day, we couldn't move them out of there because they could have, they were thinking they had asbestos. So that's why they put that metal cover on top of that instead of removing that. So you're gonna have to check for that before you put the brick on there and make sure that they remove that asbestos and it's not behind that metal plate.
Thank you for that information. I will look into that.
Thank you.
thank you, Commissioner Borges. Now, out of all 7 units, Ms. Cervantes, you said you found termites. Is that in 1 or 2 or 3 or?
We took care of the unit, so the 7 aren't together. There's only 5 on kitchen. So we took care of the whole building itself.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
Now you were going back to the
Okay,
section 8.
so in section 8, on section 8, we have the housing choice vouchers, which are a total of 177, and plus the 20 from Bowman. So we have the project-based vouchers totaling 197. Right now, we finished off the month with 160 executed leases, 11 out on the street, and 6 available. So we have shown a lot of gains there in our efforts to make sure that we get closer to the 99% that we need. I actually pushed our staff, and I'm looking, or my expectancy is 10 vouchers for this month. So with the 6 that we have left, once we get them all out, she already started working on it, which is why we only have 6 left now. But I was pushing those 10 that were left from last month of September. So we finished off with 6 right now, so she has to worry about the 6 that are left to make sure we have them all out on the street, to be able to place them in housing as soon as possible.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
On the project-based vouchers, you have a waiting list of 32. Is that the waiting list that Bowman has, or does the Housing Authority have that waiting list?
Bowen does.
Bowman?
Yes.
And they do the interviews too?
No, we do.
You do the interviews?
Yes, for our program, yes. For our vouchers, for our 20, yes. And right now, as a matter of fact, if you see, we've had one available since July. We actually had a lady that had gone through the interview, through eligibility process, and had qualified, and at the last minute got sick and decided she couldn't go through with it. So now we're going to start all over again.
Does Bowman ever disqualify anybody from participating in the program?
No, they don't have, no, not at all.
Okay, thank you.
What about, do they at sometimes offer you applicants that they have if you don't have?
Yes, that does happen. So if they're already residents, we do have applicants that are already residents, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, continue.
So there, as you can see, we're still weighing down on the 89, and we have to push that over the 90s. So that's the goal, to get them all out on the street so we can get them placed. Stability vouchers versus the emergency vouchers on the back. The emergency vouchers were temporary versus the stability vouchers, which are permanent. And we were only given 5 stability vouchers. And again, these 2 programs are the ones where we work with a coalition, and it's on a referral basis only. So we started with the 5. We have 3 available. We have 2 on the street. We had in September, sorry. We actually executed 2 leases in October, which leaves us with 1 still out on the street for this month. And she was working on one. That's why we're missing 1 there, because we're not sure if they're going to go ahead and go through. So as opposed to reporting that they're still out on the street and or moved in, I just wanted to give you that explanation.
Commissioner Bonilla?
Who is handling these vouchers? Is Mariposa or?
We have, it's a coalition. You have primarily, yes, Mariposa, but you have Mariposa, we have Hope, Circles of Peace, and I'm gonna have to get back to you on that other agency out of Cochise County who work together on that. But yes, here are local residents or any buddy needing that assistance would go through Mariposa directly, and they would contact us. But the coalition is composed of the 4 different organizations.
So
No. Siegel used to take care of it. They don't anymore. No. No, it's peace. I'll get it for you.
emergency housing vouchers program is technically over. There's no more emergency.
No, what happens with emergency housing voucher is anybody that has it already keeps it, but it's not reassigned. So we don't get it back and we don't reissue it. We don't reassign it. They keep it for as long as they need it, but we don't reassign those vouchers. So those vouchers are gone.
So we basically lost all the emergency vouchers now? We don't have any?
We have not available. We can't issue them anymore because it ends in December. So if we were to issue it now, we wouldn't meet that timeline. But as I explained, so we had 10. We have the 10 that were actually executed, 2 on the street, which would still count because they're already out on the street. So we lost out on 3. Mm-hmm. And those are on a referral basis only as well.
Okay. Any other questions? Continue, Master.
So those That was my report. If we want to move on to
Right.
resolutions, Mr. Chair.
Anything on financial?
No.
No, nothing. Okay. Okay, item 6, housing resolutions. Thank you, Marita. Consideration and possible action of Housing Resolution 2023-11-09, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authorities of the City of Nogales approving the HUD fair market rents, FMR, and payment standards for calendar year 2024 for Santa Cruz County, Arizona, for all bedroom sizes. Any discussion? Any comments, Marita, on that?
Unless you need explanations on that, but this is a yearly
Yeah. Okay,
assignment.
all those in favor? Aye. All those against? Motion passes. Number 2, consideration and possible action for Housing Resolution 2023-11-08, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authorities of the City of Nogales approving Nogales Housing Authorities, NHA, to enter into a recovery agreement with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, establishing performance targets, strategies, and incentives to improve NHA's troubled performance for the year ending March 31st, 2022. Any discussion? This is what we talk right now about.
Yes.
On the
So you have,
recording
so
letter, right?
you're looking at two different things though. You're looking at the actual sustainability report, and then you're looking at the actual agreement.
Well, you know, the electronic version is the other way around, flipped. So you read number 2 on the paper version and then go on the attachments on the electronic.
Oh, how weird. What would cause that, John?
Okay. I'll let it be noted to the public that, you know, on the electronic and the physical version, item 1 and item 2 are reversed. So just the supporting and everything documents are here. So right now we're on number 2, which is on the HUD. You were saying, Marita?
Oh, that it was two different documents, sir. We're looking at the sustainability worksheet
Mm-hmm.
and then the actual agreement. So just to make sure for clarification that we have both on there.
Okay.
So you have the actual agreement and then you have the worksheet.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Any future agenda items, anybody? Go ahead, Commissioner Montiel.
Maritza, I have had some concerns from residents at Bowman. What is your involvement with any concerns from the residents at Bowman?
We did have issues at Bowman the month before last. And as a result, I did meet with their management from, I lost my train of thought.
That's okay, it doesn't. In Tucson, somewhere.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so with management and with NCD, and they did come down and we met. First, it was just going back and forth with emails because they were very concerned, and they raised their concerns when Senator Grijalva was here once.
Yeah.
And they raised their concerns with him, which wasn't the time. But he accepted everything and said, I'm not here, you know, I'm not playing judge today. My role is not to play judge today, but I will take this information back. So it's Gorman, I'm sorry. So we did meet with the authorities from Gorman. The CEO was online. He didn't make it, here personally, but we did meet with them and we met with NCD and we ironed things out. They seem to be happy now. We have not heard any complaints from them. It was administratively that they were lacking issues. I mean, they were confronting issues. They changed management. So we went from one extreme to the other, from what I gather, somebody that would drop everything to help their actual tenants to this new man who's actually managing the residents as, the residency as it is and not necessarily dropping everything for the residents. But like I said, management did come down and they addressed a lot of issues such as their community room was closed before it should have been closed. NCD had donated sewing machines so they could have workshops and the sewing machines had disappeared while they're back. Issues like that. And I did receive letters, concerns from them to make sure that Gorman and the right people were getting these letters. So for the most part, Commissioner Montiel, I believe we have addressed it. However, we are still in contact with the administrative team from Gorman, and fair is fair, and they have to be treated the right way.
Yeah. So you are aware of the
Yes,
complaints
I am.
and they've been
Yes, I
taken
am.
care of and
Yes.
they're going to be addressed as problems arise.
Yes.
And my other, I just want to make sure that that in the, any issues that arise, any concerns that arise, you're doing a great job. But that way, we have a new city manager. I don't honestly know how the housing works in terms of we've gone back and forth. Who has authority? Does the council? Does the commissioners? I don't even want to go there. But what I do want to stress is that any concerns, any problems, any issues, that you raise them with the city manager. I think so that way later on faces change, politics changes, and so forth. We don't, do the blaming game or any of that sort of thing. That you put things in writing, and that you communicate effectively with the city manager.
I totally agree.
Thank
And
you.
on those same terms, I have done the same with our department.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when I came in, that was one of the excuses. Well, we've gone through so many
Yeah.
directors, and my biggest thing there is whether I'm here today, gone tomorrow, and somebody else comes in, policy procedure is very important, and the department has to
Yeah.
move forward
Yeah.
and help our tenants and continue doing what we're supposed to be doing. So establishing all that,
Yeah.
starting with the department, is one of my priorities as well.
Yeah.
And yes, I have very open communication with Mr. Bermudez and Mr.
Yeah.
Kissinger.
That way nobody gets impacted, especially the residents. 'Cause
Definitely.
it's a hard job. I know. I understand being a director is difficult, but also that we're all on the same page, maybe not same line sometimes because people have different ideas about things, but that everything's certainly documented, and I think that would be a great start. Thank
Yes,
you.
I agree. Thank you.
My question would be, have they found a resolution for they had issues with bugs and the trash and all that?
They've been addressed according to an email I got. I could forward it to Mr. Bermudez so you can have that on record, where they did come and do their rounds and sit down with even some of the residents and their maintenance crew and their management. So they did confirm that they've been taken care of. But if we hear of anything else, please let me know so I can make sure I communicate that with them, even though I hope I'm not the middleman here. It should go through their manager, and hopefully that has been established. But if not, I'm more than willing to step in if I need to again.
Okay, yeah, because I know that was one of the complaints that I had passed over to you on that detail.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead.
Maritza, hopefully next week we make some time and take a ride up there and just make sure that that problem was taken care of and
Sure.
confirm it with email that they sent you.
Sure.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Bojorquez.
Just a comment on I know that Bowman is a project-based program, but still they have to abide by the guidelines of the inspections. Just like we do other landlords, the inspector from the housing authority does the inspection. They have to abide also by the same rules. So, as far as personal items, the tenants should take care of that with the landlord. I don't think the housing authority can get involved in that. But as far as the trash and all that other problems that they are having, they have to go through the same process of inspection, and they have to abide by the rules.
Yes.
Also, even though they're a project-based project.
And for future agenda items, just to throw it out there, because we're talking about project-based, we've been offered another project-based. Yeah, and I don't know what happened in the process of establishing this one, Commissioner Bojorquez, or how you feel about it, but it's something for the future that's out, the offer is out there.
It's got to be approved by HUD. They're the people providing the funding, so it has to go through HUD first. We can't just go ahead and throw 20 vouchers at a project-based landlord. It has to be approved by HUD.
I just wanted to hear your guys' opinion on it, because I don't know what you went through last time to establish that. So I'm just throwing it out there. I don't want to neglect it or ignore it, just throwing it out there. Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead.
A good excuse would be that we're having a housing shortage, and maybe we bring that up to HUD. They'll say, okay, we have 20, I don't know how many apartments you're talking about, but they might be willing to work with you with that, because we don't have any. I think you're having a housing problem right now. That's why you have so many vouchers on hand. So maybe if we bring that up, HUD will approve that. And I think they've been talking for the last 4 or 5 years that they're just going to Section 8 program. They're going to stop doing public housing. So I don't know. It's one way to go.
Thank you. And it is 20 that they were requesting.
So it's a full complex, or is it partial of a complex?
Partial. And we already have 7 tenants there currently under Section 8. 7 tenants currently there under Section 8, so it would be 13 additional vouchers.
What's your feeling on that section or that apartment base? Are they keeping, are they apartments that low sustainability, or are they apartments that?
The purpose of reaching out to us was to keep them at an affordable price, affordable range. If we were to go into a contract, they would be able to keep it. If not, then they'll go skyrocketing like everything else is. So that's the goal. That's the purpose behind it. But I still have to do a lot more research. So that's why I was just bringing it up to see your reaction to it. Once I do more research, coming up soon, I will bring it back up.
Like Commissioner Bojorquez said, if it's something that obviously we need and we could work with, I think it's something to look at.
Great, thank you. Yes, sir. No.
They're not accepting regular vouchers?
They have our vouchers now. They're looking into changing ownership, and the new owners they don't want to keep them as low income or affordable housing. So in that sense, if they really go with the higher end of it and not keep it at affordable, we might not even be able to keep our 7 vouchers there.
Well, when we talk about project-based vouchers, the landlord keeps those vouchers there. If the tenant leaves, he leaves the voucher there, and somebody else replaces that. And the housing choice voucher, it's a tenant's voucher. He can take that voucher and move from one place to another, but he never loses a voucher. And that's why the landlord's playing it smart. He wants to keep those 20 vouchers That is
to assure himself,
project there,
yes.
so
Exactly.
I don't know, yeah. Hut,
Yeah, see,
Hut would have to approve that.
I will get more information and bring it back.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Anything else? Any other? Yes, sir. Mr. Kissinger.
I think I caught up with what you were saying. The online agenda has the item switched, but you read it with the correct
Number.
caption number. So I think we're okay with that. I don't know why that happened. So we'll get it figured out, and I don't know if it even needs to be corrected or where it needs to be corrected, but we'll make sure it happens.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else with that? Move to adjourn this meeting?
One other thing, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Sorry
go
if I
ahead.
could just
Eva.
add, we are working on reinstating our resident advisory board, which was something that was put on hold. I don't know how long, but we are bringing back the ones that do want to come back. I know we lost some. And then from there, we will pick the rep to come to this meeting as well.
Now that you brought that up, how are you doing with your employees' replacements?
I'm almost done. I'm down to 2, and I will have follow-up informal interviews tomorrow.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? So move to adjourn this meeting? All in favor? All right.